Welcome to Failing Up, a limited series from the shallow end about our collecting failures, how they impact us, and ultimately make us better collectors. I'm Dave, and I wanted to do this series to help us all feel a little better about our own mistakes. We've all made them, so maybe we can learn from each other. Today's guest is one of my favorite guys to talk to in this hobby, Marty, otherwise known as Signed 1933 Goudey. He's all about starts and stops, pushing and waiting, patience and passion. This series might be called Failing Up, but to Marty, a little bit of struggle isn't failing. It's learning, it's understanding, and it's getting just a little bit better, one day at a time. Let's welcome in now Marty. Marty, you might know better as the Signed 1933 Goudey guy. Go check out his Instagram page. It is education within Instagram. It's fantastic. Marty, welcome in and tell us about a fail along your collecting journey. You've had so many successes, but talk about a fail that we can all learn about and something that affected your journey.
Dave, I'm going to be a buzzkill. I thought about this a lot, and life is a crazy journey, and people have told me multiple times in my life that I'm one of the most resilient people that they've ever met, and that keeps me humble. I really don't believe in failures in life. I think it's a journey. You've got to learn from those and then react. And looking back, I thought a lot about that question, and there's things that I missed out on. There's things that I sold a little too early, but I needed those sales at the time to get something else that I wanted. So I can give you, I'll give you one specific example. So I've been at this a long time. I'll be 48 next month, and my passion for autograph cards started when I was a kid, literally. So I've been at this for a really long time. I got out of the hobby for just a couple years when I was in college, and then really got back into it back in 2012. And so I always loved the 33 Goudey set, and I actually put together a complete 33 Goudey set in 2016, 2017. And it was all PSA graded. It was, I think, in 2s and 3s and 4s, nothing super crazy over the top. But I had it, and it was part of my quest for getting signed 33 Goudey cards. So there was a collector who was actually a little bit younger than me. He's a lawyer in Oklahoma named Jason May. And he and I had very similar taste in collecting, and he started collecting signed 33s. I love them, like them. I thought it'd be cool to get 20, to get 30, to get 40. And then before you know it, you hit 100, and then you're really off to the races. And so, one stinger that I have is in 2018, Jason Bay had the most complete signed 33 Goudey set known to exist. He had an amazing collection, and he had another opportunity in life and needed some cash. And so he decided to auction his set off. And so he put it in, I think it was the fall 2018 REA auction. And so he gave me plenty of notice. He had some extremely rare cards, some cards that were only 1 of 1s or 1s of 2s. Again, we're talking about signed cards. And I grew up, single mom. I've been very blessed in life, but we're comfortably middle class. I've got 2 small kids and my wife, and she's very supportive of the hobby. And but I don't have unlimited funds, right? So especially not in 2018. So I knew that I was going to have to make some sacrifices to come up with the funds to potentially purchase some of these rare cards, these rare signed 33 Gotti. So I made the decision to sell my PSA graded 33 Gotti set in 2018 in the same REA auction that Jason May was selling his autograph cards in. And Babe Ruth's then, people don't believe this, but you can go look it up. I mean, you could get Babe Ruth cards for $1,500, $1,500, $2,000. So my Babe Ruth sold for like $2,500 a piece. And so, I mean, that stings looking back, especially when, you get through the COVID peaks and, I'm looking at my PSA 2 or PSA 3 Babe Ruth cards that are selling for, $15,000, $16,000, $17,000, and I sold them for $2,500. But I don't really regret it, because at the same time, everything that's sold in that auction, I just put right back into autograph cards. I mean, really, REA was so great to work with, because I told them what I was doing. I was like, I'm going to spend every penny of profit, trying to get these autograph cards. And so, yeah, I shifted. I sold a little early on those, but that was the only way that I could get those true one of one cards that I still have to this day. And the cards that I have now that I was able to get for $3,000 or $4,000, I wouldn't take $15,000 or $20,000 for them. So it's a journey. I mean, I really don't have any regrets. I've learned a lot over the course of my life, and perspective is one of those things that I've learned. Like, you can't lose sleep over, a deal gone bad or losing money. If you're constantly looking in the rearview mirror, you're not living and looking forward. And my goal in life is to look forward, to learn, and to have fun. I mean, bottom line, this is a hobby. And, I think a lot of people get into it. They get excited. They're not focused. They're kind of all over the place, and I think it burns them out. And, to me, that kind of breaks my heart, because the sport baseball is like such a fascinating. I mean, people missed out on the conversation that we had just a minute ago on Tony Lazzeri. I mean, there's so many avenues in baseball and baseball history and baseball cards that you can go down, that you really have to be focused. And, I think a lot of people get in or get out, or get in and get out, and they're not focused because they're overwhelmed. And then they spend a lot of money, and they expect, especially on the newer stuff, that this is just going to continue to rise. But I mean, I assume we're about the same age, like as a kid of the 80s, I bought the same 86, 87, 88 Topps packs. I mean, we thought we were going to be loaded. I'm a basketball fan too. So I remember when the Skybox cards came out, I thought those were fascinating. And, I bought a bunch of those, and I thought those were going to be my way out. And now you can get a box of those Skybox cards for $10, So, card companies are card companies. It's a business. So they're printing stuff, they're hyping stuff, they're selling products, and they mass produce stuff. And I think that's a lesson that I learned too. I don't chase the new and the shiny, because it more than likely is going to be in the dollar bins 3 or 4 years from now. So I try to focus on rarities, sets that I like, and I do it. And I mean, it's a commodity. I mean, I guess it is it's an investment, because when you get to the level that we're at, I mean, it's an asset. I mean, it really is, especially with a set like a complete signed 1933 Gotti set. I mean, that's worth a lot of money. And again, the lesson that I learned in all of this is when I started the 33 Gotti collection, the signed 33 Gotti collection, I didn't have an extra $1,000 to spend on a card when I was doing this. When I first started, like, I remember the first time I spent $1,000 on a signed 33 Gotti, and I thought to myself, like, what am I doing? Like, this is this is insane. Like, this is a lot of money. This is like real money. And, um, but looking back, I'm glad I did it. You know, I spent a lot of money last night on a particular card, and I'm very fortunate to be able to be in that position to do that. So, again, patience. You know, it's all you look at all the really good investors in life. I mean, like Warren Buffett. You know, Warren will tell you, getting rich is easy. It just takes discipline, and having a world class baseball card collection is easy. It just takes discipline. You know, I didn't do this overnight. I've been collecting this set over 15 years. And so I've learned a lot of lessons. One of those is not to beat yourself up and dwell on the past, because life is short. Enjoy it.
The way that I framed the question at the beginning, which is the way I'm asking a lot of people, it's like, oh, tell us about a struggle or a fail along the journey. What I'm hearing from you is it's not a failure, it's an opportunity. It is a path and a gateway to something different, to something better. And had you not sold those cards back in that RA auction, the signed 33 Gaudi set that you're now making your collecting life work would never be where it is. So you almost had to make it. It would have been a failure not to have made that move back then. Does that sound right?
Yeah. I mean, so much of life is perspective. I mean, like you have to. I mean, to me, I want to try to have a positive outcome. I mean, you know, the community. We talk a lot about the collecting community. You know, so many of the extremely rare cards that I've been able to acquire come from the most random text messages or calls or people wanting to help. I mean, people want to help you on your journey. If you are sincere, if you're kind, if you help people along the way, people don't forget that. And so, you know, people, it's funny, people, I've told people this story too a couple times, and they don't believe me, but you can go check auction records. I mean, again, like when I started this 15 years ago, I had opportunities to buy a signed 1933 Gaudi Babe Ruth for under $4,000. I didn't have $4,000. I mean, like I couldn't spend that on a card. I knew in my gut that card was worth a heck of a lot more than $4,000. But I made a conscious decision. I'm not going to go into debt. I'm not, you know, I'm saving. I didn't have the money, you know, and, you know, now a signed Babe Ruth 33 Gaudi card is probably going to bring six figures when they go up to auction. And so, you know, again, do I regret not buying one or two? Then I wish I could have had the means to do that. But, you know, I try to stay focused on what I can do right now, because I believe in the long-term journey.
Yeah.
You know, I'm spending some decent dollars today that whenever I decide to no longer be the caretaker of these cards, I'm going to let them go back out in the universe, and I will get, you know, I'll get that money back. It's not about money to me. It's about putting together a world-class collection that people are going to appreciate. And then you tell the stories of the cards because they matter. They're not some mass-produced Topps or Panini product that's going to lose its glitter in 6 months or a year. So
in those moments when you take the time and allow yourself to look at your collection, whether it's the signed 33 Gaudis or any other part of your collection, and it's just one of those quiet moments and you're going through it, what does it feel like? What's going through your mind, and what's it like for you to enjoy the collection that you are caretaking?
Well, I'm really fortunate because like right now, I'm at the point in my life where it's like I'm almost like really zen with my collection. You know, I can admire really good collections and really good cards, and I've got a lot of friends in the hobby that have amazing collections, and I love seeing those. I can appreciate those. But my collection now has evolved so much. I'm thinking back 15 years ago when I started the 33 Gaudi set, the sign set. I was really kind of all over the place. I wasn't focused. So I was collecting all these autographs. I mean, I had thousands of autographs. I was doing through the mail. I was doing, um, I was chasing all these stories. I mean, if I liked a player, if I knew a player, if I knew a story, I heard a story about a player, I'd write to them. And I just had thousands and thousands of signed cards. And then I realized it's just stuff. Like it lost its meaning to me. And, about that time, I got married and was getting older. And then, we had kids and I'm like, what if something happened to me? Like, what is my wife going to do with all this stuff? It's not organized. It's going to be a hassle. It's going to be a burden. And again, I plan on being around for another 50 years, but that's like the first kind of thing that came to mind. What if, you buy your life insurance, you've got kids now, what if something happened? I don't want to be a burden. And so I said, why am I doing this? And so I pared my collection down. I started getting rid of a lot of stuff. And fortunately, I got rid of a lot of stuff during COVID. And I did really good on a lot of stuff. But, for me, where I'm at now, I only collect things that I appreciate, that mean something to me. And I can really, be proud of it. And it's not, I tell people reach out to me all the time. They're like, hey, I'm thinking about signing or starting to collect a complete signed set, whether a 33 Gaudi set or whatever. And I tell them that is the most ridiculous thing that you can do. Like, I would never, ever try to start another signed set. I mean, it is a monumentally difficult task, and you have to be in it for the long haul. I am a former marathon runner, so I get it. Like, you've got to have long-term goals, and starting a sign set is a monster. And so, I tell people, hey, like, good luck with that. I wouldn't do it. But whatever floats your boat, right? Like, so if you want to do that, I try to give them advice by saying, hey, if you want a sign set, you got to define why you want that sign set. And it's typically like, I like these really great cards here. And it's usually 5 to 6 to 9 to 10 cards. And they're usually the most expensive cards in the set. And so what they'll do is, instead of focusing on those 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 cards, they'll go and start buying the cheaper ones. So they won't go out and spend, the $4, $5, $6, $7, $8,000 on a signed Michael Jordan card or whatever it is that's in that set that they want. They'll go out and spend the equivalent of what they would spend on the Michael Jordan on all the other common players, right? And so, that's a meaningful chase, but you're delaying the inevitable. So that's another thing that I've kind of learned. I think people want the instant gratification a lot of the times. And so I think that's why they chase some of the newer stuff, maybe. I don't know. And it's not a criticism. I mean, I don't mean to sound critical of the hobby. I think it's good to have, card shows and new products, because, kids are the next generation of this, and I've got kids, and, they're there. One of the other sets that I collect that I've loved is I put together a 1997 Metal Universe PSA 9 set, basketball set. I love that set. I think it's one of the most beautiful sets of all times. I mean, I was in college when that set came out. I remember seeing some of those cards and thinking, oh, those are just fantastic. I remember seeing one of the red PMGs and was like, man, that's just amazing set. But again, like, learning about the hobby, when I started putting the PSA 9 set together, I did that because PSA 10s were hundreds of dollars for a common. And I was like, why is a PSA 10 of a common guy in that set $500, $600 when I could get a PSA 9 for $30? So I made the conscious decision. I would rather use the resources, the limited resources that I have to build a beautiful PSA 9 graded set, stick it in a safe. And to me, the potential for that 2xing, 3xing is going to be much higher than a PSA 10 graded set. But again, that goes into the brilliance of the marketing of PSA. They've got the set registry, and there are a lot of people out there. I've learned that, and that's another thing that I've learned. As a collector, there are people out there that are on next level, and money's not an object. Legitimately, some of these people are my friends. I've been very fortunate to get to know some of these folks, and many of them have unique life experiences, and I know that I will never be able to match them dollar for dollar in trying to build my collection, and that's okay. I don't want that. Again, I've told stories about the 33 Goudey set. I know what number that I want to get to, but I know that I'm never going to get a Babe Ruth. I really don't even want a signed Babe Ruth card right now because it would be six figures. There's 4 Babe Ruths and 2 Lou Gehrigs in the 33 Goudey set. I'm probably never going to acquire either one of those because I don't want to spend, that much money on those 6 cards because I've got a wife and 2 kids, and I would rather spend that money taking them on vacation or, doing something else. Now, I'm still fairly young in life. Will it happen one day that a Babe Ruth will fall in my lap or a Lou Gehrig will fall in my lap? Sure. I mean, that could potentially happen. I could, that door is open and it's a possibility, but you have to have guardrails. You have to know what your limits are, and you have to know what your expectations are. And so I think all of those is just part of maturing as a human being and realizing that there's really no failures in life. There's really not. I mean, I think of the big crises that I've had in my life had nothing to do with cards. Absolutely nothing. And I look back on those, and even in the worst times of my life, and I assure you, I've had some horrible times in my life, and this year has not been a good one for me. I can laugh about it and I can learn from it, looking back on it with that perspective, because no matter what difficulties I'm facing right now, I know I'm not in the position that I was 30 years ago. And so, you live and learn, you grow up, and that's the beautiful thing about this hobby. If you buckle in, stay focused, live within your means, and run the marathon, you're going to have fun, you're going to learn, and hopefully you'll get the perspective where it's not a mistake, it's a maturing of life's journey.
Marty, thank you. Congrats on your journey in the hobby, and thank you for sharing your story with us. If you want to find Marty on Instagram, and please do if you haven't already. And if you haven't already, what's wrong with you? It's signed 1933 Goudey. Marty, thank you so much.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate all you do.